Did you make any communicate, official communicate or anything like that?
We basically didn't. We kept quiet. It was the most strategical thing to do. We did start to talk and think, what can we do about it? But by the time those conversations happened, it was gone, and we strategically, in the meantime, said nothing because the public was so polarised by it. Most people were so angry about it. But what we did do, so what I'd like to come on to speak about now, the response to the riots. So obviously, you've heard all these things already that we've said and that you've said about just calling them opportunistic and criminals and thugs and scum, and that the media said and that the public were saying really a lot. But then what happened is the police were given extra powers. They said they could use water cannons and they were talking about using rubber bullets. I don't know when the last time that happened in England. Never. And just talking about getting more police on the streets. Let's not cut the police budget, and there was David Cameron, the Prime Minister, was saying publicly to the courts, to the criminal system, saying give them harsh sentences, give them the harshest thing you can. That should not happen. Like the justice system should not have politicians telling them what to do. It should be based on justice and on what's going on.
A real separation between politicians and justice.
But it wasn't. They were very explicitly and publicly saying, give them harsh sentences. Everybody that has been been arrested for violent disorder, for being at the riots, is getting prison. 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds are getting prison. All of them. That have come through, and they've changed the law. Normally, you have to wait a while, and then take them to court and do all these things. They're keeping them in custody, in jail, temporary jail, immediately, and taking them to court very quickly, and sending them to jail very quickly, with no chance to really have a defence. There's lawyers telling them to just plead guilty, and there's people for writing things on Facebook. For saying, "Way go rioters!" sitting in their home writing on Facebook, are getting criminal sentences. They're getting community service, and in fact some are getting imprisoned. Two people created a Facebook event. Let's have a riot in this place. That's a stupid thing to do. True, to create a Facebook event for a riot. But the police saw it. They came. Nothing happened. Nobody went. They said so. No riot happened, but because they created a Facebook event, they've got 4 years in prison. The public have, I think, very hypocritically, the public and the media are saying they're condemning the violence, and they're saying there's very bad violence. These people should not be smashing shop windows and stealing items from big corporations. So we should. Make them homeless. Which another thing they're doing is they're people that live in council houses. The government pay for their housing. If they were caught in the riots, they're saying evict them from their house, put them on the streets, and that's happening.
That's happening.
Their evictions haven't happened yet, but the eviction orders have. The council have said yes, evict these people, and. So the violence that the public are now condoning and the government are now doing, the violence against the people that were rioting, is complete hypocrisy to say they're doing it because of the violence of the rioters. And it's disgusting. So what UKuncut did do is promoted a demonstration saying, there was a demonstration that was already being organised, so we didn't have to be active in it, but we said the first area that was going to evict people for someone was getting an eviction order for going to court. They hadn't even been found guilty yet. They hadn't even been guilty or not guilty, and they were going to get an eviction order from they're going to get kicked out of their house, put on the streets. So we promoted demonstrations against that.
They are growing,
and we got lots of shit for it. Lots of people said, why are you condoning the rioting? And people got really angry just because UKuncut even said we promoted this demonstration.
I was supposed to make an interview with an English media about this rioting. At the end I didn't do it, but I was preparing, that's why I was investigating that a little bit what happened there, and the point was more or less what you are saying. I mean, we cannot support these riots because we are against violence, any kind of violence, also police violence and political violence. But we don't want to focus the point in the violence. We want to focus the point in why so many people around one country go to the streets and start to do that horrible thing.
Exactly.
Because media didn't explain it.
Yes, there was no explanation for us. There was only people burning things. So that's what was the main idea we had we debate here in Real Democracy about that riot.
Still, I must be honest, I still don't understand why people get so violent and what do they hope to achieve, what do they thought that the consequences would be. Don't they understand that doing that they have jeopardized completely your political fight and the image of your movement, and because don't they understand? Because
you have to understand that what's the social what's their social class and what the social way of life, and what is
how they live,
their reality, because their reality is far away from my reality and fucking far away from yours.
Yeah, so
the thing is
it
that
wasn't the people, it wasn't political groups. Like, so on March 26th, there was the Black Bloc. They smashed banks and Topshop, and they were thinking, before they went out, they were thinking politically, strategically, this is what I want to achieve when I do it. This was different. It was a different kind of activity, different kind of riot. It wasn't people thinking, what can I strategically achieve? It was people, it was manifestation of the violence that they had been receiving from the states for their whole lives. It's a manifestation of this anger. It's a different kind of thing. Sorry?
I mean, it's like action-reaction. You receive violence, you generate violence. You receive cuts in the university, you propose a new